It's Thursday morning on the last but one leg of our circumnavigation of Britain. Astern is the Mull of Galloway, and last night we anchored in the bay just to the right of the lighthouse there, in the shelter of the Mull. It was a peaceful night, it's good anchorage, a good holding for the anchor, although the anchor did bring up quite a lot of weed. But we had a very peaceful, quiet night and caught up with some sleep. I thought it would be nice for people to see bubble sailing. It's lovely being quiet after the engine going. Of course, the snag with sailing is that 1 minute you're going well and the next the wind drops. And if you have to reach a point by a certain time, perhaps to enter an entrance lock, you've got no choice but to motor, and that's really been the story of our circumnavigation. You know, the wind is not completely steady, and the genoa is not filling properly at the minute, so I'll have to tweak the sheets. The main looks fine though. We're sailing now in lovely conditions, just over 10 knots of wind. We are reasonably close hauled, but not completely close hauled, so I suppose it's a fine reach, and with a bit of tide assistance we're sailing along at getting on for 8 knots, which is wonderful. In the distance we can see England for the first time for several weeks. That's the Lake District, and we are heading for the harbour of Whitehaven. We are 8 miles off Whitehaven now, still sailing, both sailing really well at in excess of 7 knots, really pleasant breeze, sunshine, sea not too rough, really ideal conditions for sailing in yachts such as ours. It's lovely to see the English coastline again, the first time for a few weeks. Directly ahead we have Whitehaven, where there's a good marina that we both visit regularly and have done for many years, and we're going to stay there for tonight and tomorrow night, Friday, and we'll head back to Fleetwood when the wind's in a better direction on Saturday morning. Just where the rapeseed flowers are, the yellow flowers, that is St Bees Head, South Head to the right of it, and then we're looking down past Sellafield down towards Barrow in the distance. Scotland proceeding into the background. We've been farming the Solway Firth. Mike's been in contact with Whitehaven, and we expect to arrive there about 1:10. Unfortunately, because it's a big spring tide, they are going to close the lock gates at 1 and open them up again at 2 for free flow. Normally you have to lock in and out to Whitehaven, but over the high water period for a few hours they open both locks so that there's free flow, but unfortunately today, because of the spring tides, they'll be closing them just when we arrive, so we'll probably have to lock in. But we've been allocated berths, we know where they are because we've been here so many times, and it will be good to be settled in Whitehaven. A very comfortable place to be for a couple of nights. We are cruising, but of course, knowing Mike and I, as many of you watching this do, every leg really is a race. And earlier on we were racing, and whilst we were sailing, and Bubble just fractionally was going faster than Patches Lady, and Mike conceded that one. Then we had a spell with less wind. Now we've got more wind again, and I am doing my damnedest to catch Mike up, but he's sailing very well, and Patches Lady is going extremely well, so I'm struggling a minute, but I reckon I might just catch him before we get to Whitehaven. He won't like that, but well, the regatta's coming up next week, so it's good to have the practice at racing and trying to catch up the boat in front. I think I am catching him. I've just had a look on the AIS and Mike's doing 6.8 knots and I'm doing 7. So I'm just creeping up on him now. He will not like that. The wind veered a moment ago. I don't know if that is perhaps due to the land approaching, but I noticed and I adjusted my sails. I'm not sure Mike did, and I think that's just given me another 1/10 of a knot. And I'm gradually creeping up on him now. There's a yacht just come out of Whitehaven. Sailing parallel to us, there's a yacht also going to Whitehaven who must have left Gakubri earlier. We've seen him on the AIS and now we can actually see him not far over to port. On the coast between St Bees Head and Barrow is Sellafield nuclear power place. I'm not sure if it's I don't think it's a power station. I think it's somewhere where they process the nuclear fuel for power stations and doubtless for weapons as well. I'm not entirely clear what they do, but it's certainly a big centre for nuclear materials in the UK. Yeah, I'm definitely catching him. Well, that really was a very exciting sail. I'm probably just about level with Mike now. I haven't overtaken him, so perhaps that one's a draw. But we both had a fantastic sail. I'll have to set out my fenders now because unfortunately it's just gone 1, and we knew that at 1 the locks would close and go on to normal locking and off free flow. So I need to get my lines ready and my fenders out for a lock-in. Fortunately, well hopefully I'll be able to take the port side pontoon in the knock because that's what my berth will be. My berth will be a port side 2 berth in reverse as I back into my berths. So hopefully that will all work out. It's nice not to have to rig on both sides. So there's Paget's Lady sailing fantastically well, just passing St Bees Head in the background there, and Whitehaven directly ahead. Yes, it's turned out sunny, warm, and perfect wind for sailing. Let's hope when we go back to Fleetwood in a couple of days' time, we'll have similar conditions. Well, there's almost no difference in level between the lock and the marina. So we had to go through all the aggro of coming in here and getting tied up single-handed, both of us, for a change of height of can't be more than 1 inch or 2. Anyway, the gates are opening now. Hopefully we'll be able to be berthed up soon. It's always amazing how calm it is in here after the sea, after the Irish Sea, and it looks very still and lovely today. That whining sound is the lock gate mechanism. The lock gates behind me are taller than the ones in front because their main purpose is not so much to form a lock for the marina, it's to provide sea defences for the town, because until this sea lock was put in, Whitehaven had some dreadful floods from the big tides and storms in the winter. But this very tall outer lock gate ensures that that is now consigned to the past. There's usually a few people watching. Only one today, thank God. And we're going to go into here and then turn left. There's Mike. There are berths over there, and sometimes I've been berthed there, but today we're in the Queen's Marina, which is around here. And this inner dock, which I think is mainly used for occasional visiting fishing boat, is very handy when you're on your own because you can come in here and get ready for your berth, particularly if your berth is requires the fenders and lines to be on a different side than the lock. So it's really handy. All of this, until the sea lock was built, was fully tidal. So this would dry out to nothing. Obviously that's pretty limiting. There was an attempt made to make this inner dock, the Queen's Dock, impounded, and the original 1930s lock gates are still in place, although they're not used. Now the sea lock is there, the whole complex of docks, sorry, the whole complex is entirely impounded. So we're passing through into the Queen's Marina now. Just see the original rusty lock gates. These two boats here, FD, that's a Fleetwood registration mark. (1876) apparently this was built, but the locks gates I know were in the 30s. There's a drone up there. Sometimes you get that when you're sailing a boat off the coast. And then the pontoons are over to starboard. Plenty of space here for manoeuvring. Mike's got a finger berth, and I've got to reverse on the far side of the pontoon system between the wall near those flats and the pontoons. There's a long side berth there. So I'm hoping there's not too many other boats there, because a long side berth is straightforward, except if there's other boats in position, then it's a nightmare. I can see a couple of masts, so give it a go. So safely berthed up, wasn't too difficult. The Swan got out of the way happily, and Mike is here on a finger berth, as he normally has down at Fleetwood. Yeah. And in this marina here, my old boat used to be in here. In fact, I think I can just see it in the distance. I'll go and have a look later. Fortunately, I had plenty of space on this alongside pontoon. Yeah, well, there's Mike. Very relieved to be in safely, as am I. And I think it's now time to get the sailing gear off, have a shower, and have some lunch.